Hey everyone, just before we begin, this video is a re-edited upload of a reaction from our previous and now deleted channel, so please check that you subscribe to this new channel here, enjoy the review, and we look forward to seeing you in some new material coming very soon. Hi there and welcome back to Japan, where we're going to be checking out a little bit more of SOKONINARU. Now this is a group who kind of came out of nowhere and gave me a little bit of a surprise. They've been recommended for a long time before we first picked them up. Checked out 2 songs of theirs now. I'm really bad at remembering names of things, so apologies I can't remember the song names. But yeah, to be honest, I've been impressed. They have one of those sounds that I can imagine is very divisive. Very sort of experimental, goes into slightly proggy territory. I've heard them described as math rock, which I think is a little bit of a one of those not real genres. It kind of seems to just be an amalgamation of things that other genres already do. It doesn't really seem to describe anything. But what I would say seems to be the general consensus is that they are very playful with their writing style, which yeah, sounds brilliant. They have this thing where usually the songs fit a fairly simple rhythm, but they'll flip up the sounds, the production. They'll throw in like little bits that'll just last for a few seconds and change. It's one of those ones for people who like to be on their toes with their music, who don't want to be settled too much into a comfortable space, but want to be like sort of challenged to be constantly sort of hit with interesting things, which makes this song, which is called Metalin. It doesn't have an apostrophe at the end, so I'm assuming it's like short for metaling, but I don't know. It could be metal in with no space. You know, it makes this interesting because I'm guessing this is probably going to be a heavy one. So I wonder if it's going to be a real blast on the senses. Of the 2 songs we had before, like I say, the first one, well, of the 2, do go back and check the previous reviews. All we have to do is type in SOKONINARU into our YouTube page search, and you'll be able to find those 2 reviews if you haven't seen them already. I'll try actually make a playlist as we're listening to more of this band now. I've got another song after this by them that I'm going to listen to as well. So I'll try and make a SOKONINARU playlist. But of the 2 songs we heard before, one of them, to me, was really interesting and playful, but never seemed to settle on enough of a hook. And it's not necessarily a hook, but a refrain, something that it comes back to, which is familiar territory. I used the Hocus Pocus by Focus example in that even the most experimental and playful songs need something that they can come back to, a solid space to come back to, because that's what gives you that contrast. That's what gives you the ability to go off and go crazy, is because you need to be able to travel from one space and maybe come back to it. And then the other song we heard by them did actually have that, and it benefited for it. So I have no idea what to expect with Metalin, but hey, let's talk about it first. Sorry, let's listen to it first and then talk about it after. All right, here we go. Metalin by SOKONINARU. Really kind of noted about this one was the fact that, like I say, the changes, it's like the other 2 songs I heard, the changes like every beat, like the production will change, something will change so quickly that you can barely even acknowledge it before it's gone and it's moved on to the next thing. Whereas this is like you get a few bars of like heavy banging along, and then it breaks down to a sparse bit for a few bars, and then it goes to something anthemic for a few bars. You know, I mean, it gives you enough time to accept and stomach and acknowledge each change, which therefore, I mean, that's no less creative. It just means they're going from the, you know, the sort of sensory blast that is the case in their other 2 songs to something like this, where it's more of a I think more of a musical I wouldn't say adventure, because you get to feel like you get to stop off and have a look at the scenery at each little stop. Each point gives you something that you can get your teeth into before it moves on. So this song, I'd be interested to know. So I'm going to give you a few seconds, guys. What do you think? Given that you know my taste about double kicks and you know, sort of thrashy metal, what do you think? Do you think I like this song? Do you think I like this song? Or do you think it was a bit of a disappointment? What do you think I'm going to say? Really? You're probably wrong. I actually really liked that. I thought that was fantastic. I would even gladly listen to that again. I love the chorus. Thought the chorus was catchy. The double kick, I don't know why. I don't know if it's just the mood I'm in today. I think I said, I mean, I record these reactions in a batch, and I've had a bad day today, which I mentioned on one of the videos not so long ago. I mean, there'll probably be a few days between them by the time I upload these all, but I had a bad day, and I don't know if it's just worked for me on that front, but I think the double kick actually worked in this because of a reason that I pointed out in some of Baby Metal's songs when they go insane on the double kick, which they don't do too much anymore, I'm glad to say. But because often, like I said, the problem when you go like sort of that double kick thing where you're just machine gunning it constantly is it starts to kill the rhythm. There's no rhythm when every single beat is a heavy note. It just kind of basically sounds like rolling your travel bag along, along a sort of a cattle grid or something. Just, so usually I don't like that kind of thing, but it can work, as I said, with baby metal previously, and a couple of other examples when you have a good enough, big enough melody, usually vocal melody, over the top, when everything else is moving sort of in its own way, when everything has a sense of movement already, then the drum beat can just become sort of an intense noise because it doesn't need to carry the rhythm if the rest of the music is carrying the rhythm enough for itself, or if the focus is so well centered around the melody, the rhythm can become a complete backseat anyway. And that's why I think the chorus in this, the da 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 da, is very operatic. And in fact, I mean, that actually sounds a lot like I can't remember what it is, but a classical piece of music. It felt like it had a big operatic classical quality to it. So the rhythm wasn't so important, therefore, and it could just become like this intense sort of banging, driving noise underneath to give you a feeling of tension rather than rhythm, so to speak. So that worked. Not to say that the drum beat didn't break down its individual bits to some really good hair-bangy bits, as they accented well in the video as well. And yeah, had its real intense moments in the beat as well. But what I think we could agree was the refrain or the chorus was done in a very sort of, like I say, operatic melody, big choral sounding. I thought that the sounds of the instruments as well were really well used. I thought the drum was compressed, but it was done in a way that didn't kill the life out of it, just made it sound sort of loud and really full on, but not in a way that took the life out of the musicianship. The guitar sounded really, really great. I loved the way that when it was doing that sort of chugging muted riff, it sounded really, really good. Really sort of digging into your ear, and the bass note as well, fantastic as well. The two singers, like I said, I never said that they had like the greatest voices ever, but they do have very good voices and they work well together and they harmonize well together as well. But they're good also at doing sort of cool and answer form songs. They just got voices that go well together in one way or another. And I did like hearing them both singing on this again. Just the whole song to me felt really rewarding. It felt like it really paid off on its sort of grandiose nature without just sticking to the basic sounds of the band pretty much and a little more. It wasn't sort of awash with excessive production. It went through various sections. You never knew quite where it was going to go, but each section seemed to complement the one that went before. It had its little shock breakdowns and its big build-ups. It just felt throughout to be something that was very aware of the drama it was trying to build, and it did feel dramatic, it felt cinematic, it felt really involving. That just with a video with a little bit of shaky cam and a white background for the best part, that was one of those videos that it worked in context. It kept the sort of speed and the kinetic energy of the song sort of visually represented, but it didn't really add anything to it. And yet, even with a simple video, this felt cinematic and dramatic, and just a brilliant song. I really enjoyed that. That's the kind of thing, if I want to listen to something heavy, something metal, although I wouldn't consider this normally to be a metal band, that's the sort of thing that I would find really rewarding to listen to. It had, like I say, that sort of drama and energy that some people try to replace with screamo and growling, which can be used in its own way, but I think when you've got something like this, good writing trumps pretty much any thing every time, and this was really well written, so I really enjoyed that. As always, really looking forward to seeing what you guys think in the comments. If, like me, you're someone who listens to and enjoys metal but is not necessarily a metal head 110%, or even if you don't like metal at all, I'd be really interested to know what your opinion is on that. If you are into metal, or if you're a fan of the band or otherwise, then let us know as well. Just really looking forward to seeing what everyone thinks about this one, because I thought that was a really interesting listen. But anyway, for now, from Japan, thank you so much for tuning in. Remember to get involved in the discussion both in the comments, but also if you want to get more involved, we've got our Discord and our Reddit are great places to discuss more music, and give suggestions. If you want to make sure they definitely get through to me, that's the place to do it. And of course, channel's looking really great this year, thanks to all of the wonderful contributions that you guys have given on Patreon. We've got a small but very loyal and very good following on there, which really helps. This channel isn't monetized for a number of reasons, so as to keep the community going and to avoid copyright problems. So anything you can give is greatly appreciated. And if you can't, just like I say, help us keep the community going by getting in there and give us your opinions as well. But for now, from Japan, thank you so much for tuning in. Until I see you hopefully soon, next time, for now, ciao, ciao. Thanks for watching. Feel free to check out more of our hundreds of videos we got online on this channel right now, or get involved in the discussion with us at the many social media links we've got in the description below, where you can suggest new videos and artists for us to check out on the channel.
Or you can just do the usual YouTube stuff and comment, like, subscribe. You know how this works by now.